It's called the sea cucumber. Looking for all the world like an overblown caterpillar, the sea cucumber is covered with a network of wart-like projections. Its body is a cylindrical tube of muscles that relax and contract, a process that allows it to move. In fact, it's all muscle and no backbone. Sluggish, unable to escape its predators by running away or even swimming for that matter, this primitive invertebrate is one of the most astonishing creatures to inhabit the bottom of the sea. Today our divers are exploring in the Sea of Amami off the southernmost tip of Japan, where they're planning to film the sea cucumber's unending struggle for survival. The sea cucumber makes his home on the sandy bed of the ocean floor, and the divers are looking for plow marks that might indicate where one is hiding. Sea cucumbers don't enjoy the light. They prefer darkness and are usually found hiding beneath rocks or coral. When our diver spots the first specimen, he can't believe how small it is and how difficult it is to see even when the rock is turned over. As the diver takes a closer look, he pokes gently and the sea cucumber contracts its tough muscle wall. This contraction is a basic defense mechanism, and because of the sharp wart-like projections all over its body, the contraction usually serves very well as a protection against its enemies. Its natural coloring blends in with the surrounding sand and serves as further protection against its enemies, except of course against this latecomer in the evolutionary scene, the species called Homo sapiens, who has just come to discover all he can about this amazing creature. No matter how large they are or how well protected, sea cucumbers burrow into the sand, pushing downwards with their muscles until they're covered and disguised. And while they're burrowing for protection, they're also eating. The sea cucumber gets its nourishment from organic material like algae and bacteria that are found right in the sand granules themselves. It crams itself full of sand, digests its food, and then excretes all that's left after digestion. But the muscle which is used in excretion is also used in defense. Watch how forcefully it can stir up the sand behind itself. Most sea cucumbers have leathery skins with microscopic particles scattered all over their bodies, much like starfish and sea urchins, but without their spiny arsenals. So a sea cucumber has had to develop a unique form of defense, the sharp points on its hide. This particular kind of sea cucumber is lucky enough to have those points relatively large and well developed. But like all sea cucumbers, it cannot travel quickly. Although this may look like slow motion photography, it isn't. This is the animal's normal speed. Watch the muscle in the body wall pulsate in a slow wave of locomotion. Some sea cucumbers cannot move at all since they have no feet. At least this one has tiny pods that grip the seabed and help to make him move. Another way the sea cucumber has to fool his enemies is just to lie perfectly still so he looks like a rock. But our diver isn't fooled. He picks up this wonderful creature to examine its underside. The diver gives the sea cucumber a large pebble to hold onto in hopes that this will make the creature move his feet so we can watch. Its tube feet have suction discs at the end of every one of them. They work on a sort of hydraulic system, and the legs can actually stretch out to hold onto the pebble at all cost, spinning themselves out as thin as hairs. But the animal has been badly frightened by this whole experience, and he wants to get away. Like most animals who are preparing for flight, the sea cucumber wants to become lighter, so he excretes the wastes from his body. Further along the seabed, our cameraman has discovered another specimen. It's one of the longest varieties of sea cucumbers in existence and measures almost 3 feet in length. With its distinctive rectangular body, it sets out on a very short journey. It's amazing to watch how slowly this creature moves and how little distance it covers in any given length of time. Once again, our diver wants a closer look, and we get a good chance to see the throat and underside of this giant specimen. The diver is using a stick to point out the sea cucumber's mouth, where he takes in the granules of sand for food. The sand passes down through his digestive tract, and we get a chance to see the many rows of feet that help to create the slow locomotion when he wants to move. As the diver turns the sea cucumber over, we see the opening at the other end of its body. This opening serves not only to excrete wastes, as we have seen, but it also provides the sea cucumber with one of his most effective defense weapons. This is also the opening through which the animal breathes, extracting oxygen from the water and releasing carbon dioxide. You can always tell when a sea cucumber is breathing because when he breathes out, the exhaust creates a water current that moves the sand. Many different kinds of sea cucumbers are frequently found together, and as many as several hundred different types will often share one small sandy bed. That is why our diving team are uncovering so many different species at one time. This one is called in Latin Synapta maculata. It is the very largest of all sea cucumbers, measuring about 6 feet in length and only a few inches in width. It almost looks like a water snake until you see its head. Those tentacles are really modified feet, and they're very sticky. Situated all around its mouth, they're searching for food, picking up sand granules and getting them inside. The Synapta maculata has 15 tentacles or feelers, though most sea cucumbers have as many as 20. As the diver pokes at the sea cucumber, we get a chance to sense what he must feel like, all pudgy and floppy, just like a great fat noodle. This sea cucumber is so long, it's actually higher than the diver that's holding him, but this isn't the longest. Some sea cucumbers have been discovered that are over 9 feet in length. Right there, barely distinguishable in the sand, is another sea cucumber. When its disguise is brushed away and the sand cloud settles, we'll see another species of sea cucumber appear. It has an unmistakable bullseye design around its warts, and this striking pattern serves to help frighten off any predators who might be hungry. But this animal has a much more powerful defense mechanism to defeat its enemies, and we're about to see it. Watch what happens. Strands of a spaghetti-like substance come pouring out of the opening in what seems to be an endless stream. These strands can stretch 20 or 30 times their original length and can cause real trouble for any enemy who is foolish enough to get tangled in them. This isn't waste from the body, but a special substance that's created for the sea cucumber's protection. The strands are intended not to just trap an enemy, but to keep him occupied so he can launch another attack. They stick like glue, as our diver is about to discover. At first, it's just a curiosity for the diver, but after a moment, he'd really like to shake it off his fingers. But that's not as easy as it sounds. Watch. The stuff really sticks. And in order to get rid of it, the diver has to scrape it off with some sand. Of course, a smaller enemy would not be so lucky. He'd become completely immobilized while the sea cucumber had a chance to get away. Back aboard the control ship, we rejoin our crew who are preparing for an experiment. They're going to tie a crab to a line and send him down below to confront a sea cucumber. In effect, they're staging a pitched battle. Occasionally, a hungry crab will take on a sea cucumber, but usually it's a much bigger variety. Still, a small crab will do nicely for the experiment. And down it goes with the diver. The waters in this coastal area of Japan are ideal for underwater filming because of the warm water current called the kuroshio. It means the dark current, and it's like indigo blue cellophane. Everything in the water can be seen with great clarity, and now the divers are ready to start shooting. First, the little crab is drawn by its string onto the back of the sea cucumber. Normally, when it's attacked, the sea cucumber turns its back to the offender. Here, our diver puts the reluctant crab in the right position to provoke a response. The sea cucumber has felt the presence of the crab, and any minute now, he'll protect himself. Naturally, the crab would like to escape, but it's too late. The substance is just too sticky. The more he struggles, the more he gets trapped, until finally he's completely immobilized. This amazing defense mechanism gets triggered every time the sea cucumber is attacked. And now we can see why it's so effective. Now that the experiment is over, one of the divers helps to untangle the poor crab from his sticky situation, and the crab just can't wait to get away. We don't know how long it takes a crab to learn anything, but we're quite sure he won't ever bother a sea cucumber again. Just before he takes off for the open sea, he stops to catch his breath on the underside of a diver's flipper. Meanwhile, the sea cucumber is busy pulling in all of those white strands, ready for the next time they're required. He can use the same strands over and over again. Apparently, the sea cucumber is a very generous fellow because he actually shares his bronchial gills and reproductive organs with another fish. This is the pearlfish, a parasite that lives right inside the sea cucumber's body cavity. And as soon as that white strand is pulled out of the way, he'll go inside. Meanwhile, our diving team has decided to conduct another underwater experiment to discover exactly how this secretive pearlfish enters and inhabits the sea cucumber. How does it avoid that spaghetti-like defense mechanism? In order to find out, our divers will have to cut open one of the sea cucumbers. But the Japanese believe that if a life is to be taken, respect must be first given, and so there's a short ritual before the surgery. In a valiant but hopeless attempt to protect itself, the sea cucumber excretes protective strands, but to no avail. Most sea cucumbers have poisonous substances in the mucus secretions of their skin. The poison can kill fish, and it's been used to control sharks. But it won't harm man unless it enters his bloodstream. And somehow, it doesn't seem to harm the pearlfish either. In the transformation of sea cucumber into human food, the poisonous substances are destroyed. What you're looking at is really the basis of a soup or a smoked delicacy that's enjoyed throughout Southeast Asia. Usually served boiled and desalted, it has as much as 60% protein content. And right in the middle of those long entrails is a parasite. Not one, but two. And the diver will force the two pearlfish out into the open. When the diver makes a ring with his fingers, the pearlfish is fooled into thinking it's the real thing. Research has shown they're attracted to anything that's shaped like the sea cucumber's back opening. But when the diver tries to put one of them in a bottle, he finds that it's not so easy. The opening to the bottle is larger than the back opening into the sea cucumber. So the pearlfish hangs back at the rim, hovering uncertainly until it's helped to get inside. Pearlfish come and go as they please. They don't always return to the same cucumber. Pearlfish often use their former host as a hideout when they're in danger themselves. After the divers have brought their specimens up into a laboratory aquarium, we have a chance to examine the fish more carefully. The pearlfish is silvery white with reddish-brown bars across its back. It received its name when one of its species was found living inside a pearl shell. But its body is perfectly adapted to the sea cucumber. Transparent, tapering gradually and elegantly towards the tail, it looks almost like a pointed, flexible needle. Our marine biologist is about to introduce a pearlfish to a sea cucumber. In the aquarium, it may repeat what it does over and over again at the bottom of the sea, and we'll get a chance to observe the behavior. The fish is hunting for the opening. When it finds what it's looking for, it enters without so much as a how do you do, and it'll go right inside. And as amazing as it may seem, the pearlfish will enter the sea cucumber tail first. It is clear that this intrusion has happened many times before, because the sea cucumber shows no signs of distress whatsoever. He doesn't seem to mind at all what's happening, almost as if he welcomes the company. Let's watch it again. The pearlfish is completely streamlined. It has no pelvic fins and only a small dorsal fin. It's long, smooth, and slender, so it doesn't touch the body of the sea cucumber when it enters. That's why it doesn't trigger off the defense mechanism, the deadly spaghetti strands. But what would happen if the pearlfish were caught in the middle of an explosion of those sticky strands in spite of itself? Our marine biologist isn't scratching the back of the sea cucumber because it likes to be tickled. He's trying to frighten it into defending itself. And right on cue, out comes the protective strands and the pearlfish too. But this is truly remarkable. The pearlfish